We will begin this gathering by acknowledging that the land upon which we meet is the traditional territory of the First Nations people who have a long-standing relationship with land, water, and region of Southwest Middlesex. We convey our respects to our Indigenous neighbors and thank them for their contributions to our culture, community, our past, and partnerships in the future. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, can I get a mover for the agenda, please? Councillor Collin, can I get a seconder? Councillor Emery, all in favor? Motion carried. Delegations and presentations, none. I will read out the consent agenda items. I will look up after each one. If you have a question or would like to discuss it, put your hand up. Draft minutes of the regular meeting of council, September 3rd, 2025. Voucher report. Approved minutes of the Brook Elliston Fire Committee meeting, May 1st, 2025. Food drive in Middlesex County. Middlesex County Council meeting highlights, August 12th, 2025. And Middlesex County highlights, September 9th, 2025. Middlesex London Health Unit monthly Board of Health update, July 2025. Middlesex London Health Unit Transportation Networks active transportation. Municipality of Bluewater resolution of support regarding closure of before and after school programs. And City of Brantford resolution of support regarding advocacy for provincial scrap metal legislation and bail system reform. Township of Terrence Bay resolution of support regarding exemption of Ontario Regulation 343-22 firefighter certification requirements. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please? Councillor Emery moves it. Can I get a seconder? Councillor McGill? All in favor? Motion carried. Committee of Adjustment. Moving to the adjustments.
Can I get a motion to go in?
Can I get a motion to go into the Committee of Adjustment, please? Councillor McCall, seconder. Councillor Ding, all in favor? Motion carried. Consent. Okay, we need to approve the minutes of August 13th, 2025. Get a motion to approve those minutes. Councillor Haggett, seconder. Councillor McCall, all in favor? Motion carried. First item is consent to sever applications B3 2025, B4 2025, B5 2025, B6 2025 submitted by Urban Haven Incorporated, southeast corner of Longwoods Road, County Road 2, and Davis Street, Wardsville. And Amanda, I will be handing this over to Anna. And over to Elaine. Present staff report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schuldice, through you. So the purpose and effect of the subject applications, or I guess applications B3-25 to B5-25, is to sever a parcel of land having a total area of 0.45 acres and a total lot frontage of 35.78 meters for the creation of 3 lots to support townhouse dwellings. And the property as a whole is currently vacant, although each lot is to be severed, and the lot to be retained are to contain a townhouse, and the lots are to be serviced by municipal piped water and sewage system, and the lots are proposed to have frontage and access off Davis Street. The property was previously subject to official plan amendment OK 4-2022 and zoning bylaw amendment P 13-2022, which permitted the development of the bylaw of the townhouses as it was rezoned to a commercial, or as it's a commercial designation, and the rezoning allowed for a site-specific zone that would allow for the townhouse dwelling units. So the purpose and effect of the last consent application, B6-2025, is to establish an easement for maintenance and access purposes for the proposed lots of consents B3-25 to B5-25. And the easements are proposed to be located along the easterly lot line and would be approximately 4 meters in width along the lot line. So if you just take a look at the location map, the access and maintenance easement is the blue rectangle shown on the screen. So staff is of the opinion that the severance applications to create 3 severed lots and 1 retained lot for residential purposes is consistent with the provincial planning statement and the county and Southwest Middlesex official plans, as the proposal is located within a settlement area with access to full municipal services, which is encouraged within our policy documents. And staff would also like to note that although the commercial special policy area designation states that site plan control is required to develop the lands for the 4 townhouse units, through provincial changes to the Planning Act, site plan control is exempt for developments of 10 or less residential units. So staff are satisfied that the proposed development will result in lots that are compatible with the surrounding residential area, and they exceed the minimum lot size requirements of 200 square meters per unit and the minimum lot frontage requirement of 30 meters, since a provision in the R3-5 residential third density site-specific zone states that the provisions will be assessed on the zone as a whole, and therefore there's no concerns with the proposed frontages for each of the lots. The applicants have provided a concept plan showing the townhouse dwellings. I can just pull that up in a second. Sorry, technical difficulty. Okay, and we're back. So these are the 3 proposed lots to be severed, and right here we can see the proposed easement. So it's going to be approximately 4 meters wide, and backing onto, I guess this is the easterly lot line that abuts a residential use over here. So overall, staff are satisfied that the proposed development results in compatible lots, and that the townhouse dwellings demonstrate the lots to be severed are each large enough to accommodate one of the townhouse units and meet the zoning standards. And also the concept plan demonstrates that the lot to be retained would also be large enough to accommodate the townhouse dwelling and meet zoning standards. So with regard to the proposed easement for access and maintenance purposes, the Southwest Middlesex official plan allows for easements, and staff is of the opinion that the easement over the subject lands allows for each unit to have access to the properties along the rear, and it's in conformity with our official plan. So overall, staff is in a position to support the subject applications as they are consistent with the provincial planning statement and in conformity with the county and Southwest Middlesex official plans, as well as the Southwest Middlesex zoning bylaw. So with regard to agency comments received during the circulation of these applications, comments were received from the Public Works Manager, the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, the Drainage Superintendent, as well as the Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority, and these comments are included within the report. After the writing of the report, comments were received from the Chief Building Official, who advised no concerns. And with regard to public comments received, one comment was received from John Krogman after the writing of the report, and the comments included questions about construction, if the construction would impact the building on his property, which abut the subject lands to the east. He also had questions about construction on the easement or the construction or the easement impacting his water source, and that's located north of his building. And he also had concerns related to surface water and advised that there are some storm sewer issues in Wardsville. So I had the opportunity to get back to John and that advised that the proposed easement is intended to just provide access and maintenance to the yard, to the yards. It's not intended to be used for utilities or anything like that. And any construction equipment must be located on private property. And then with regard to his surface water question, the Southwest Middlesex building bylaw includes a number of requirements for building permits, including requirements for plumbing and surface drainage, such as providing a satisfactory lot grading plan. And I also clarified that the easement is only intended for the maintenance or access and maintenance, no servicing or utilities. And then John advised, it appears the majority of his concerns have been addressed, but he also did bring forward a request for municipal staff to look into the storm drain on Palmer Lane, since his basement does flood. So these comments have been brought to the drainage superintendent and public works manager's attention. So staff would like to note the recommended conditions were shared with the applicant ahead of this meeting, and the applicant indicated that there were concerns with the road widening dedication requirement and the parkland dedication requirement. And staff have advised that the road widening dedication requirement, as noted in the comments from the public works manager, that this requirement is in alignment with the municipality's design standards, and also parkland dedication for new residential lots is listed in the fee bylaw. And in response, the applicant advised he has no concerns with the road widening dedication requirement. So overall, staff recommend approval of the subject applications, subject to the conditions noted in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. We will now, the applicant will be allowed the opportunity to speak if he wishes.
Good evening,
Yes, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is John Tygrove, owner of Urban Haven Homes. Appreciate you guys gathering tonight and considering my property. I don't really have anything to add. I think everything was ironed out with Elena there regarding the storm drain and also the widening of the road. So I really don't have any concerns really, but I'm motivated to build, and I think the little community could use some good affordable housing, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, thank you. Committee member remarks. Councillor Link.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This question is for Andrew. Is there a storm drain that goes all the way to Longwoods Road in front of these lots?
It starts at Longwoods and it goes down from there. It goes along Davis.
Which side of the street?
I believe it's the opposite side of the street of where the building is. It's an old existing storm drain.
So, also, Andrew, as you know, there's no legal outlet for that drain on Davis Street. So how is this affected by that?
The legal outlet aspect of it is within the municipal drain process. But with regards to any kind of tie-in into that storm drain, it would fall under storm water management. So as usual, there wouldn't be any increased flows or increased velocity of flows. So pre-development flows what it would need to keep. So that would fall under the storm retention. And I think Elena had mentioned something to that effect, I believe. But it is up to the applicant to look after that part of it.
Any other questions from council? Did we receive any oral submissions or written submissions besides John's? Applicant's final remarks. Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we make a decision on this? To the applicant.
Yeah, I just in regards to the storm drain again, I think it's a benefit to the neighbor to the east uh, due to more water flow actually going into the tile and draining into the storm drain, which will be a higher volume of water escaping away from his building rather than logging water. So I see that as a benefit to him, not a disadvantage. So I would just like to emphasize that. And I don't see an issue at all there.
Okay, thank you. Committee decision. Councilor Haggett moves it. I get seconder. Councilor Fink seconds it. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Duly noted. Motion's carried.
There are four separate
Four separate.
for each parcel. Yep.
Okay, so that was the first motion. Do you want to read all those motions or? I forgot.
They all have they all have the 10 conditions.
Okay, so
last
we all have
one
the
is
second, we all have the second motion in front of us, and we get a mover for that motion. Councillor Bank, Councillor Haggett, all in favor? All opposed? Duly noted. And two more, okay, then third motion, same thing, can I get a mover for the third motion? Councillor Haggett, Councillor Bank, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. And then the last, fourth motion, can I get a mover for the fourth motion, please? Councillor Bank, Councillor Haggett, all in favor? All opposed? Motion's carried. I think that covers it all. And we will, can I get a motion to adjourn the committee about can I get a motion to adjourn the committee of adjustment, please? Councillor Emery, seconder, please. Councillor Haggett, all in favor? Motion's carried. Back to the regular agenda. Second. We are on 7.1 Board of Revision. I will sit as the chair of the Board of Revision, and do I need 4 councillors?
Total 3 or total 5? So 4 or 2.
I'll go with 4. I'll go with, this is in Mosa Township, right? The Chisholm Drain. And it is, okay. So we'll go with Councillor Emery, Councillor Bink, Councillor McGill, and Councillor Haggett for the 4.
Motion to go in.
And can I get a motion for that, please? Councillor Haggett, seconder, please. Councillor McCollum, all in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. Zoning bylaw amendment application.
Do the quarter region agenda.
No, we need a quarter region.
Agenda.
Do you have it on?
No, I don't.
Right. Notice that there's a process. So just.
So I'm going to call to order for moving into the court of revision. Need a motion for that? Councillor Haggett, Councillor Fink, all in favor? Motion's carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none. And delegations and presentations. So we will present now 7.1 court of revision. We went to this now then, 7.1.
Yes.
And it will be Andrew, is it? I'll hand it over to Andrew.
Thank you. The municipality has not received any appeals, written or oral, has not been any inquiries with regards to assessments based on this engineer's report.
Thank you, Andrew. Is the applicant here to speak? They're not here, okay.
I don't have anything to share at this point.
Council members' remarks on this? Seeing none. Any oral or written submissions? No. And the applicant's not here, so no final remarks. So can I get a mover for the recommended motion, please? Councillor McGill, seconder. Councillor Bank, any further discussion? Motion's carried.
Members of the adjournment.
Okay,
And go back into regular.
thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Councillor Emery, seconder. Councillor McCollum, all in favor? And then do we need another motion to?
No, you're good. You're back and open on 7.2.
7.3?
7.2.
Okay. And this will be Atlanta, I'm assuming?
Yes.
I'll hand it over to Atlanta.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schultes. So the purpose and effect of this zoning bylaw amendment application is to rezone the subject lands from the general agricultural A1 zone to a site-specific general agricultural zone to permit a service trade shop with site-specific secondary farm occupation provisions. And the applicants are proposing to construct a 300 square meter service trade shop, which would accommodate administrative, maintenance, equipment storage, and operational activities for an established electrician business. And the application requests site-specific provisions related to secondary farm occupation provisions. So these include allowing the business to be located in front of a dwelling on the same lot, and also allowing a dwelling to be located at least 60 meters, or at maximum 60 meters from a dwelling on the lot. Also requesting that the maximum number of persons engaged in the business but who reside on a lot, an adjacent lot, the maximum number of persons engaged in the secondary farm occupation but who reside on a lot other than the lot which the secondary farm occupation is conducted shall be limited to 10. So the proposed service building would initially serve as a satellite location for the applicant's operations, and they're currently based in London, and the intention is to have fully relocate the business activities to the subject lands over time. And the service building is proposed to be located in the general location of the existing dwelling, which is to be removed. And at full operation, approximately 8 electricians and apprentices would meet at the site in the morning and depart for off-site work. And 2 administrative staff are proposed to be present daily on site. And the applicants are proposing to construct a new dwelling in a different location on the subject lands to replace the dwelling that is to be removed. So if we look at this inset here, right here is, I don't know if you can see my mouse, the proposed service shop toward the more southerly red square. And then the more northerly red square is where the proposed dwelling would be. And the existing dwelling, which is located on site now, would be removed before the new dwelling is constructed. So while the subject application seeks to allow the proposed trade shop as a secondary farm operation, the use may be considered an on-farm diversified use should it meet the on-farm diversified use criteria laid out by provincial, county, and local policy documents. The application submission materials contained an analysis which included evaluating the proposal against on-farm diversified use policies within the provincial planning statement and both the county and Southwest Middlesex official plans. So staff believe evaluating the subject application against the on-farm diversified use policies and criteria was an appropriate approach.
Thank you. The applicant
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. So according to the provincial planning statement, in prime agricultural areas, permitted uses and activities include agricultural uses, agricultural related uses, and on-farm diversified uses. And the County of Middlesex official plan and Southwest Middlesex official plan both permit on-farm diversified uses subject to criteria. And as noted, staff believe it would be appropriate to evaluate the application against the on-farm diversified use policies rather than as a secondary farm operation. So the Southwest Middlesex official plan includes criteria, and as noted in the report, the criteria appears to be satisfied or is capable of being satisfied through zoning provisions and the requirement for site plan control, and that would address the detailed design and maintenance of the development of this service shop slash on-farm diversified use. And staff would also like to note a provision was added to the site-specific provisions, which would limit the combined total area for the service shop and the associated site functions, so including but not limited to parking and the septic system, to not occupy more than 2% of the subject lands in alignment with provincial guidance for on-farm diversified uses. Staff would also like to note the H-11A holding symbol applies to agricultural parcels of land that contain agriculturally related uses or on-farm diversified uses, and the removal of the H-11A symbol is contingent upon the owner entering into a site plan agreement with the municipality, and that would address developer obligations and responsibilities. So that is proposed to be, or recommended to be added onto the lands. With respect to the request to allow the proposed service shop to be located in front of the dwelling and a maximum of 60 meters from the dwelling, whereas our secondary farm operation provisions require a dwelling to be no more than 50 meters from a farm occupation. Staff does not anticipate that permitting the proposed service shop in front of the dwelling would cause the trade shop to be the primary use of the property. Staff is of the opinion that proposed trade shop would remain the secondary use, as the property would continue to be actively farmed, and the zoning provisions for the site-specific zone would regulate the size of the service shop and the associated site functions, as well as the number of employees. Also, the applicants requested a maximum setback of 115 meters between the proposed service shop and a dwelling located on a separate lot. And to note, just for context, the secondary farm occupation provisions in our bylaw right now require a house or the secondary farm occupation to be at least 150 meters from a dwelling located on a separate lot. But considering the nature of the business, which would involve the majority of employees working off-site, and that the proposed service shop would be subject to site plan control, which would address the detailed design, including addressing any required noise mitigation measures, staff do not anticipate that the proposed 115-meter setback would result in any unacceptable adverse impacts to the neighboring properties. Lastly, with respect to the number of persons engaged in the service shop, the application proposes to allow for a maximum number of 10 people to be working, employed at the property, other than the owners. So taking into account that the proposed business, 2 employees would be on site daily, and the remaining 8 would be off-site for most of the day. So staff does not anticipate that increase to cause any adverse impacts to the surrounding land uses. And staff would also like to note that Glendon Drive is an arterial road, which is designed to accommodate high volumes of traffic. Also, no concerns were identified by the county engineer. And as noted above, or as noted previously, the service shop is proposed to be set back at least 115 meters from a dwelling on a neighboring lot. So therefore, staff do not anticipate adverse impacts on neighboring land uses. So based on the foregoing, the staff is of the opinion that the proposal is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms to the County of Middlesex and Southwest Middlesex official plans. With regard to agency comments received during the circulation of the public meeting notice, comments were received from the Southwest Middlesex Public Works Manager, the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, the Southwest Middlesex Deputy Chief Building Official, the Drainage Superintendent, as well as the County Engineer. And these comments are included or appended to the report. And at the time of the writing of the report, no public comments have been received and no public comments have been received to date. So staff recommend that the application be approved, subject to the, well, I guess approved with the holding provision. Thank you.
Thank you. The applicants now have an opportunity to speak if they wish to. Make yourself comfortable right there and just make sure the mic's turned on. Okay, could you make sure the mic's turned on?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Godhead, and I'm a planner with MHBC, representing the applicants, Paul and Tony, who are here today. We're in support of staff's recommendation. Thank staff and yourselves for the time and are here to answer any questions. Thank you.
That's great, thank you. Council member remarks. Seeing none, any oral or written submissions? No final remarks before we make our decision? No, okay, thank you. Got the council. Move it. Councilor Hennigan moves it. Councilor McCollum seconds it. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to move on to 7.3. Zoning bylaw amendment application P10 2025, submitted by Durrett Holdings Limited, care of Jonathan Durrett, 247 Main Street, County Road 80, Glencoe, and Elena will be. Aaron. Okay, perfect. I'll hand it over to Aaron on Zoom.
Thank you very much. This evening, I am presenting to Council report for application P10 2025. This relates to a zoning bylaw amendment application submitted by Durrett Holdings Limited. The property in question is located on the north side of Main Street, just south of Symes Street in Glencoe. The purpose of this application is to rezone the lands from the core commercial zone, known as C1, to a site-specific core commercial zone identified as C1-5. This change would permit the existing building to be used as a duplex dwelling while continuing to retain all of the commercial uses currently permitted under the zoning bylaw. The subject property contains a commercial building that is approximately 165 square meters in size. The building was previously used for, or currently has 3 small office units, but has been vacant since February of this year. Despite efforts to lease the units, no tenants have been secured, and attempts to sell the property have also been unsuccessful. The owner is therefore requesting the rezoning to provide more flexibility to the site, specifically to allow the property to be converted into a duplex dwelling while still preserving the option to return it to commercial in the future. The property is fully serviced and lies within the downtown core designation of the Southwest Middlesex official plan. From a policy perspective, the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, the county official plan, as well as our local Southwest Middlesex official plan. Each of these documents encourage intensification and redevelopment within settlement areas, particularly in locations that are fully serviced. These documents also emphasize the importance of providing a range and mix of housing options to meet the needs of current and future residents for the municipality. The Southwest Middlesex official plan goes even further by specifically recognizing that residential uses, including converted dwellings and multi-unit residential buildings, are appropriate in the downtown core where they can be compatible with surrounding uses. In staff's opinion, the requested zoning represents a balanced approach. It provides an opportunity to add rental housing units within Glencoe's downtown, helping to support the rental housing supply, while at the same time maintaining the commercial zoning framework to ensure that a return to commercial uses could be possible in the future. One of the key considerations raised through the review of this application was parking for the site. The applicant originally proposed to create 2 parking spaces at the front of the property with direct access onto Main Street. However, the county engineer advised that this arrangement would not be permitted due to safety concerns of vehicles backing out over the sidewalk and onto the county road. Instead, he did advise that a single width driveway would be acceptable, which would allow for 1 on-site parking space in the front yard. It is also worth noting that properties in the core commercial zone are exempt from the municipality's minimum parking requirements. This exemption recognizes that downtown areas function differently than other parts of the community. They are typically walkable and serviced or served by on-street parking. So in this case, there is on-street parking available along Main Street and nearby side streets, which could accommodate visitors or short-term parking needs for the site. To ensure clarity for future tenants, staff suggests that the applicant advertise one of the rental units to not including on-site parking. The application was circulated to all of our municipal departments and agencies in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. No objections were received other than the modification to the parking arrangement identified by the county engineer. And further, no comments or concerns have been received by the members of the public. So it is for these reasons that staff recommend that council approve zoning bylaw amendment P10 2025, and a draft zoning bylaw has been prepared for council's consideration this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Is the applicant present?
Yes, Jonathan Dre on calling.
Okay, you can go ahead and make any remarks.
No, not at this time, unless you guys have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Council member remarks. Councillor McGill.
Yeah, I just wondered if Aaron could explain the parking a little bit more. I'm not sure how we're avoiding backing out on the main street.
Okay, I'll hand it over to Aaron.
Thank you. Through you. We would still have one car likely backing out over the sidewalk onto the main street, similar to the other driveways that exit onto Main Street on this stretch of road. I think it was the fact that it would be, a double wide driveway, which would just increase the risk having two cars side by side reversing out. The county engineer, if an application is made to provide access onto a county road, if there's not one that exists currently, he cannot deny an application request. So he would be able to provide one. However, he did indicate it would be a single lane only and not the double wide to accommodate two parking spaces.
Any other questions from council on this? Questions or remarks? Councillor Mink.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schultz. I'm just trying to understand the situation there from what I remember in the building. Isn't there apartments there already? And if there is, then I wonder why we need to have zoning for duplex.
Aaron, answer that.
Thank you, Chair. I'm actually just going to ask the applicant if he can just describe what is existing in the building currently.
Is the question in regards to parking in the building already?
No, sorry, what are the uses that are currently there? What is the structure designed to accommodate?
That structure was originally a library. It's most recently it was used as an office by my company for the previous 4 years of ownership.
Any other councillor?
Yeah, I didn't really answer my question whether there's apartments there at the present time.
Go ahead.
To confirm, Councillor Mink, it is my understanding it is not used for any residential purpose at this time. So this would be converting it from its existing commercial use as the former library to a duplex residential unit.
And sorry, just to further clarify as well, a dwelling unit is permitted under the C1 zone. However, it's to be a single dwelling unit. If he would like to increase the number of residential units, for example, making it the duplex as defined under the zoning bylaw, it's not a permitted use and does require the rezoning. Hence why we're coming forward this evening.
Councillor Haggith.
I looked at this property and I don't think there's any access from the backside into behind the library. My concern is still parking. We have enough problem on Main Street with parking right now with people that have apartments or residents on the Main Street. That's pretty tight. Can you explain where you're gonna put the driveway off the main street? I'm still, like, it's pretty tight there.
Aaron, could you comment on that?
Certainly, through you. So the parking would just be located in the front yard. There is currently, I believe, a sign and some gardens. So the applicant is proposing to add one parking space in the front yard. There is unfortunately no vehicular access to the rear yard, and no way to establish anything in the rear, which, you know, I would likely be ideal in the situation. However, due to the location of the structure right in the center with very little distance between the building and the side yards, there's just no way to accommodate in the rear yard. So he is proposing a parking space in the front.
Councillor Hagan?
My concern is that it's two people. In today's world, mostly have two vehicles. Is it going to accommodate two vehicles for parking? Or the other cars going to, the other person's vehicle is going to have to be on the street or on the main street? Through the winter, we have no parking on the side streets. And again, Main Street is no parking in the winter either. So I'm just a little concerned. It's so tight there, I'm not sure how much room is going to be there for a parking spot on the front to the right. That's my concern.
Thank you, Councillor Hagan. Any other comments from council? Did we receive any written submission or conversations? Does the applicant like to say anything before we make a decision?
So as far as spacing on the front lawn, I can absolutely fit two trucks up there. As per the county engineer, they suggested one spot. As far as road access, Pizza Picasso has that laneway there. So we would be able to back out in front of that laneway, and I have no concerns on that side. As far as having the second unit of the duplex not have parking, I have talked to some locals that do not have vehicle transportation, so I do believe there would be a need that we're servicing by having a unit without parking.
Okay, thank you. Amanda, go ahead.
Thank you. Maybe just for council's information, while I am well aware of the parking concerns in the downtown of Glencoe, I just want to highlight that in our zoning bylaw, buildings that are in the C1 zone, so in that downtown core, including this building, are not required to provide parking, whether they're a duplex or not. We are all well aware of commercial businesses on the main street that have businesses on top or residences on top, and in our current zoning bylaw, there are no parking requirements. So just for your information, I understand the concern, but wanted you to know the current requirements in our bylaw.
Thanks for clearing that up. So we will move on to final remarks are done. Recommended motion. Is anybody prepared to make this motion? Councillor Hagan moves it. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor McGill seconds it. Any further discussion and questions on it? All in favor? All opposed? Duly noted, motion carried. Now move on to staff reports. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Staff reports. And refreshment vehicle agreement, request for extension in winter operations, and this will be by the Chief Administrative Officer. I'll hand it over to you, Amanda.
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor Schultes, to council. Before you is a report on our existing refreshment vehicle agreement at the train station parking lot. As you may recall, we previously approved an agreement with Mr. and Mrs. Tuntis for this vehicle to be located there between April and October for the first season. We hear from the owners that the first season has been successful, and they have requested a 5-year extension, proposed a rent increase to $1,000 a month inclusive of HST, and that the municipality assume the responsibility for the portable washer, which they are currently funding provision of. And they have proposed the increase in rent to offset that expense. Yes, yes, it does, yes. They're not proposing any change to their season of operation, being April to October, so they're still not planning winter operations. The municipality has reviewed this request, and there are some things, if council was interested in entering a 5-year or alternate term, council can choose, agreement with the existing provider. The agreement we would recommend would include annual cost of living adjustments as standard agreements. We are fine operationally managing the washroom rental. We expect that to be more than covered by the increase in rent. And we would request that a long-term service connection, so burying the hydro line that currently exists, be completed at the contractor's cost. The options for council, as you know, services like this can be put out for tender. So council does have the option under our procurement policy to put out a tender for anyone who wishes to lease this space. The policy also does allow council to sole source. So council has the consideration opportunity of either making an agreement for the requested 5-year term or alternate term with the existing contractors, or to direct staff to issue a request for proposals to get a renter for this location. The net financial increase would result in about just over $1,000 in additional revenue to the municipality, should it be approved at the current proposed rate. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I will open it up to the floor for council for any comments or questions. Councilor McGill.
Yeah, I like option number 1 because I think with most businesses, it's who's running the business that makes it successful, and the people that are running business at that location right now are doing a good job, I think, and have a successful business going there. The only question I'd like to ask to Amanda is, in option number 1, that recommendation would be to permit winter operation, and yet I think in the report it says they don't want to do winter operation. So should we take that few sentences or a few words out?
Yes, sort of through you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, you've caught me in an administrative error there. So to clarify, my initial conversation with Mr. and Mrs. Tuntis did involve winter operations. We went back and forth a little bit. They decided not to pursue that, and it looks like I missed updating the recommendation in the report. So thank you. Yes, that portion of the recommendation can certainly be removed.
Well, I would make the motion that we go with option 1 and just remove the 3 words permit winter operation.
Okay. Councilor Haggett, first.
So I was just gonna move it. They're good people, they support the community, they're out spending the money on it. I was just gonna move it like Mark, they're good people, they're out, they're in the community, they're supporting other businesses, so that's good.
So we've got a second, Councilor Link.
I just want to comment that this property is owned by the municipality. There's other people that run food trucks, and I feel it can be fair to all of Southwest Middlesex. It should have an RFP, and if council doesn't agree with that, then I think it should only be a 1-year contract, so the next council can choose what they want to do.
Okay, are you asking for an amendment, or?
You have a motion on the floor.
I know.
You second it.
No.
I think you have to vote on that first.
Before we do an amendment?
Yeah, if
Okay.
you feel you can go to that.
Okay, any other comments on this before I call Councilor McGill? Go ahead.
Maybe Amanda can find it quicker than I could, but I think in the agreement there somewhere it says something about there's a clause where you can get out of a contract with 60 days notice or something, isn't it?
Thank you through you, Deputy Mayor. In the existing contract, yes, I do believe there is a clause that the municipality can terminate the agreement with a notice. 60 days notice, and that's in the existing agreement, and we would certainly include that in future iterations if that was council's
So that's
direction.
for both parties, the 60 days notice.
I am just No. The clause 12A of the existing agreement says the municipality maintains the right to cancel without cause this contract by providing the contractor with 60 days written notice. And I apologize, yes, C, not in order, says the contractor may end the contract without cause with provision of 60 days written notice to the municipality of Southwest Middlesex and payment of a $500 cancellation fee.
Any other questions or comments on this? We have a motion and a seconder. All in favor? All opposed? Duly noted. Motion's carried. Now we'll move on to downtown parking public education campaign. And CAO Amanda, you will be presenting this report. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Shoulders, through you to council. As background, previously the Economic Development Committee has reviewed and endorsed this public education campaign at their meeting of September 11th, just earlier this month. And the initiative is now presented to council for information. As you know, we've received some complaints regarding parking in the downtown core area of Glencoe. And the purpose of the information campaign is to improve customer access to downtown businesses and raise awareness of available parking options. As you will see in the proposal, the key messaging would include, encouraging business owners and others to avoid long-term parking on main streets, especially during business hours. Promote the existing free municipal lots, especially the one across the street from our office. And remind the community of the winter opening parking restrictions beginning on November 15th. And we have various forms that plan to communicate this message to try to reach as many people as possible. So this is provided as information to council. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I'll open the floor up to council for any comments or questions on this. Pretty thorough report. Councillor Huygens.
Well, I think it's good getting out there, but we still, we have some employees that work at some businesses that park right in front of their business. I can understand why the owner of the businesses don't tell the employees to park off the there where everybody parks the shop. Two, lots of people have been told and don't, so I mean, I think our bylaw officer has to step in and take advantage of them, because they just keep parking. I see it every day, and I see the store owner's frustration. I really do. I mean, it's tough enough to make things go in rural communities than it is. So I think it's a great idea. I'll support it.
Any other comments? Can I get a mover for the recommendation, please? Councillor Haggett moves it. Can I get a seconder? Councillor McGill, any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion's carried. The next item on the agenda is the Rural Ontario Development Program Grant Application Opportunity, and I'll hand that over to you, Amanda.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, through you to council. So recently, the province has launched the Rural Ontario Development Program to support planning, infrastructure, and community development projects in rural municipalities. The application deadline is very fast approaching, as September 24th. After reviewing the grant opportunities, parameters, and eligibility, as well as reviewing our existing plans and priorities. The wayfinding signage, or a plan on wayfinding signage, has been selected and proposed to council as the best fit of meeting the existing criteria for this grant. It does align with the recommendation in the 2019 Economic Development Strategy, specifically Theme 1, improving the first impressions of Southwest Middlesex. And the priority of this signage is reiterated in the existing Parks, Recreation, and Facilities Master Plan, which, if I recall, has a date of 2022 or 2023. I don't know. It's, okay. As you know, the municipality has previously invested in new logo and branding guidelines, and a wayfinding strategy is considered the next logical step to strengthen community branding, improve tourism appeal, and support downtown revitalization. A wayfinding strategy would create a comprehensive framework for design, placement, and implementation of signage, enhancing visitor experience and civic pride. The estimated project cost, and I want to just note to council, I don't have a quote on this yet, so I anticipate that I am estimating high based on what I've heard since writing this report from other municipalities. Okay, but the estimated cost is $50,000. For the application purposes, the full estimates would be requested to ensure funding flexibility. If we were successful in the grant application, the grant program would provide 50% funding, so up to $25,000, or half of the amount of the RFP we issued. And the municipal portion of 50% would need to be carried in the 2026 budget. If we were not successful with the grant, the money allocated could be reconsidered by council for reallocation. Also, council would have the opportunity to review all bids in the future should we proceed with this. So at this stage, we are hoping for council's endorsement to submit an application, with the understanding that if we were successful, a portion of the funding would need to come from the municipality. And for your information, the other quote I heard from another municipality of approximately our size for a wayfinding strategy was closer to the 35,000 range. I just got that number in today. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll open the floor up for any questions or comments on this, council. Councillor Vink.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schultz. I will be voting against this. Twice I've asked about the signs there on Clacton Road. They used to be always kept up. I was by what we call in our area the Sun Bowl today. That sign is pretty raggedy. So we're not keeping up with the signs we have now. So I'm not interested in spending more money on behalf of ratepayers on stuff that's not being kept up.
Thank you. Do we know what signs this will include? I know it says strategy. Has it been determined, or where will the money be spent?
Thank you. So at this, the purpose of the plan would be to identify the key areas where signage is needed and what it would be suggested to say. So where would a strategic location and the design. So where is strategic location for the sign that points to, I think we know where it would point to the arena. But, at Longwoods Road coming in, what would that sign say that says, coming into Glencoe kind of thing. So it was the strategy portion. The one thing I thought of when Councilor was speaking, is, so this is an action to create any signs. It's for the strategy, it's for the design, and it's for the strategic locations of where signage is suggested based on our multiple communities. The good thing about the new Rural Ontario Development Program is that it has 4 iterations of funding in the future. So the potential is there, and I think they've set up the grant program for exactly this reason, that if you are successful in the first application, say to develop a strategy, that you could apply in future years, in year 2, 3, and 4, for implementation monies to go towards implementing your strategy. strategy. So that would be to actually produce signs, something I wanted to know.
Could it be used to replace our current entrance signs?
I think it would be, so as part of the wayfinding strategy, I think they would also look at our existing signs and make any design improvements or suggestions on those as well. So we would incorporate, a wayfinding strategy typically looks at your existing signs.
There's weeds coming out and things like that, so. And I don't know about Melbourne signs, but anyway, those three signs I've seen today, so.
We do need to look at our entrance signs there in that shape. The one in Melbourne's been laying in the ditch for several years.
Okay.
So this money could be used towards that, I guess that's.
Towards new signage.
Entrance signage. Because it doesn't need to be downtown, because it can be spread out.
Yes, wayfinding signage will include the entire municipality and all communities within the municipality, and then directions to those communities as well. So it would include the rural areas as well.
Councilor McGill?
I'm a little confused on this now. I thought this was to, either fix signs we already have, or now it sounds like this money is just to implement a strategy.
So through you, Deputy Mayor, to Mayor Councilor McGill, the recommendation before you is for a wayfinding strategy. So the allocation of these funds, if approved and if a grant was received, would be for a strategy. There would not be money allocated towards the replacement of signs with this pocket of money. However, if we were successful again, there are future iterations of this grant which are targeted directly at implementing the phase 1 projects that have been funded.
I just had a thought, like, I don't want to spend $25,000 on a strategy, but I would like to see our signs improved. Could we reduce this recommendation from $50,000 to the $25,000 municipal share to maybe half that much? And the only reason I would be wanting to do that would be so we could get the ball rolling, so then later we could apply for more grant money to actually improve the signs or replace the signs.
Amanda, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, again, as I've noted, the more recent financial numbers I've received this week about the cost for a wayfinding strategy is a total of $30,000 to $35,000. Staff could also review that to see if there were cuts that could be made, but that would see a municipal allocation closer into the $15,000 range to develop the strategy if we were successful with the grant.
Thank you.
Just Rob, if I could, maybe I'd like to make a motion that we go with 30,000, which would be, our half would be then 15,000.
Okay, can I get a seconder for that motion? Councilor Haggis, any discussion on that? Councilor McNeil?
And we talk about rebranding, and so far since I've been on council, I would say that what rebranding we've done hasn't been very successful. We changed our logo, we changed our slogan. I don't think we probably got no better than what we had before, so I thought we should just leave it the way it is. But it is what it is, so.
Councilor Bing?
Yes, I can concur with Councilor McGill on that, and I believe that branding costs quite a bit of money too. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking 50 grand. So, another reason why I'm voting against them.
Any other comments? Councilor Haggis?
Well, I don't, that doesn't mean we have to accept their branding, right? And two, signs, don't get me started. But our wood signs, it doesn't matter if it's Middlesex County or Southwest Middlesex, the big signs, right? They're wood. So after 1 year or 6 months, they're faded, or they're broken, or you gotta fix them. I know everything costs money, but I mean, I like it when I go into Overton, they got this cement. I mean, and I'm looking like, I know everything costs money, but down the road, coming into the communities, cement, welcome to Southwest Middlesex, and I just think it's nicer. And I know it costs money, but signs, they're wood. You drive down, you see those signs, they fade, and then we don't have time to fix them, and then you get 4 by 8 sheets of plywood, and then it's just, I support it to see what they're going to do, but I think it's down the road, and we'll probably have some kind of say where the next council or whatever can say, we want our signs to be something concrete or something. I just think we could do a better job at something. I know everything costs money, but I think for our municipality, that's what I think. And that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? We have a motion on the table that has reduced it down to 30,000. And we've got a motion and seconder. All in favor? All opposed? Motion's carried. Now move into Public Works and the Beacon Winship Drain Access Bridge Replacement. And I'm going to assume that will be Andrew. I'll hand it over to you, Andrew.
Thank you. This is a follow-up from last council meeting, where at this point, I'll keep it short. The recommendation for you is that council receive the report dated September 17th, and that the council appoints Reed Associates under Section 78 of the Drainage Act for the owner of concession 2 lot 15 for the replacement bridge to the Beacon Winship Drain, formerly Middlesex Township. And I'm open for any questions at this point.
Thank you. I'll open the floor to council for any questions or comments on this. Seeing none, can I get a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Lane, seconder. Councillor Haggith, all in favor? Motion carried. Next is the McCann Trillium Drain Award, and I will hand that over to Andrew as well.
The background for this request for tenders for the McCann Trillium were based on the report written by Reed Associates Engineers. They were issued July 30th, and the closing date was August 28th. And there were 3 submissions, and the lowest was for $119,200 submitted by McNally Excavating, and it was slightly over the estimated value of $113,615, but it's still within the amount. It's not over 133% that the Act requires us to have a public meeting to decide where to go next. You can see as a part of this that there was a correction on one of the submissions. However, that doesn't change the lowest bid. That Spreet's office also recommends that McNally Excavating be awarded the contract. So at this point, I recommend the council receive the report and that accepts the recommendations from Spreet's office, and that awards the contract of McCann Trillium Drain to McNally Excavating in the amount of $119,200.
Thank you, Andrew. I'll open the floor up to questions or comments from council on this. Councillor Vink.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schultz. Andrew, are you satisfied that this company can get the work done? Because the reason I'm asking is they've got quite a few drains on the go.
Andrew, I'll let you answer.
Yes, I am satisfied that they can complete the task. They do have a date that would be reasonable here, the date range of installation. I think that if it was tomorrow, then is out in February, I think it's reasonable.
Any other comments or questions? Can I get a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Haggett, can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Emery, any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Duly noted, motion carried. Now move into planning. Missing anything? The next one is the zoning bylaw amendment application P3 2025 submitted by Civac Planning and Design Inc., care of Dan Murphy, on behalf of Barby Developments Incorporated, north side of Stafford Road, County Road 14, east side of Stella Avenue, Glencoe, and I will be sorry to Anna.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schuldice, through you. So the purpose of the report is to provide an evaluation of the subject application to rezone the subject lands to permit 10 townhouse dwellings, in addition to permitting several special zoning provisions for the subject lands. And this proposal was presented at a public meeting of Municipal Council on May 21st, 2025. So the purpose and effect of the application is to rezone the subject lands from the residential first density R11 zone to a site-specific residential third density zone to permit townhouse dwellings, in addition to permitting several special zoning provisions. And the applicants are proposing to construct 10 townhouse dwellings, each to have a covered porch off the rear. And the townhouse dwellings are shown on a concept plan that I'm going to share right now. So they're shown on, they're identified as Block A and Block B. So Block A is this one and Block B is this one. So the lands are to be accessed via a driveway off Appin Road, which we can see right here. So in addition to, so the site-specific provisions involve a front yard depth of 2 meters, an interior side yard width of 2.95 meters, a rear yard depth of 5.5 meters, a lot coverage of a maximum of 46% of the lot area, and then also a landscaped open space of 27% of the lot area. And just for everyone's reference, this lot line here is considered the rear lot line, and then this lot line here, as well as this lot line here, are considered interior side yards. So in addition to those specific provisions, the applicants are requesting for the site-specific zone to allow for covered porches to encroach up to 1.55 meters into a required interior side yard, whereas the zoning bylaw only permits these encroachments of up to 2.5 meters into a required front, rear, or exterior side yard. So the municipality's sanitary system is experiencing capacity constraints, in particular during wet weather conditions. So sanitary connections are generally not permitted at this time. The municipality is undertaking upgrades to the sanitary force main and Victoria Street pump station to address capacity constraints on the existing system, which would need to occur prior to any development taking place. So as part of the application, a noise study, servicing brief, architectural drawings, plan justification report, archaeological assessment, and civil drawings were submitted. And the noise study, servicing brief, and civil drawings were reviewed by a third-party consultant as part of a peer review process. And the applicant's team has worked to address any outstanding matters identified within these studies. And with regard to the noise study, the comments received from the peer reviewer were considered minor in nature, and warning clauses with relation to noise generated from the neighboring public works garage and from road traffic are proposed. And additionally, the archaeological assessment was submitted to the Ministry of Citizenship and Multiculturalism, and a clearance letter was provided by them. So the provincial planning statement states that settlement areas shall be the focus of growth and development, And Glencoe is designated an urban area according to both the county and Southwest Middlesex official plans. And the provincial policy statement also states that municipal water and sanitary services are the preferred form of servicing. So the subject property is located within Glencoe, and the development is proposed to be accommodated by full municipal services. The Southwest Middlesex official plan includes criteria to be considered for medium density development proposals. And this criteria includes demonstrating that there is adequate buffering and or separation from low density residential development, taking into consideration the proximity of the proposed development from the downtown core and or open space, vehicular access to arterial or collector roads and traffic generation, adequacy of municipal infrastructure, adequacy of parking and amenity space. And staff is of the opinion that the criteria has been satisfied or is capable of being satisfied. Staff would like to note, in relation to adequate buffering, the applicants are proposing a 1.8 meter wood or composite fence along the property boundary, and no concerns were identified by building services with regards to allowing for a minimum setback of 2.95 meters from the interior side lot line, or the encroachment of 1.55 meters for open roof porches into the interior side yards. And no changes were requested through this amendment to the 10.5 meter height requirement for the proposed zone. That's the standard height in the R3 residential third density zone. But to ensure there's adequate separation and that the units are 1 story, which is proposed for this development, staff believe it would be appropriate to include a provision that limits the proposed townhouse dwellings to be 1 story, and as also limiting the height to 8 meters, a maximum of 8 meters. And with the addition of a reduced maximum height and limiting the units to 1 story, staff is of the opinion that the proposal would allow for adequate buffering and or separation from low density residential development. Additionally, with regard to the buffering and or separation from the neighboring industrial use, being the Southwest Middlesex Public Works Garage, the applicant did submit the noise study, which was peer reviewed by a third-party consultant. The noise study includes a provision for central air conditioning as a requirement for the units, and it also indicates that a warning clause is to be stated in lease agreements for the development. The peer reviewer noted that the warning clauses for lease agreements is appropriate, as well as the installation of air conditioning. The public works manager, so in consultation with the public works manager, the outstanding matters identified by the peer reviewer are considered to be minor. And from discussions with the public works manager, he is in agreement that a warning clause with relation to noise should be included in lease agreements, as well as registered on title of the property for any future owner's awareness. And staff believe including a warning about possible dust from the public works garage would also help to bring awareness to possible dust from everyday operations. With regard to adequacy of municipal infrastructure, the municipality is undertaking those upgrades to the sanitary force main and Victoria Street pump. And that would all need to be finalized before any development can take place. So staff is of the opinion it would be appropriate to place a holding symbol on the subject lands to require adequate services to be available as a prerequisite to development. So that's the H-12 symbol in our zoning bylaw. And as noted, the submitted documents such as the site servicing design brief, civil drawings, those were subject to the peer review process. The applicant's team has worked with the municipality's engineering consultant to address outstanding matters that were identified during the peer review process, such as containing stormwater runoff within the site. And as part of the comments received during the circulation of the public meeting notice earlier this year, the Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority advised the subject lands are not subject to the Lower Thames' regulations, although they would like to perform a stormwater management review to ensure it meets their standards. And so staff provided the latest revisions of the stormwater or the servicing design report and site servicing to the Lower Thames. And the comments from the Lower Thames are included within the report. In response to the comments received, the applicant's engineer provided responses which can be found within the comment section of the report. Since the writing of the report, the Lower Thames advised they have no further concerns with relation to the minimum size of the storm sewer, although they recommended no ponding of floodwater occurs on private property. So from discussions with municipal staff and the municipality's engineering consultant, there are no concerns with the proposed stormwater management strategy. And considering stormwater management matters have been addressed, staff does not anticipate adverse impacts on surrounding properties as a result of the request to increase lot coverage to a maximum of 46%. With regards to sidewalks, staff would like to note the province's intent to exempt 10 or less residential units from the site plan control process is to expedite small residential development proposals. And given that site plan control is not applicable for this proposal, although it would be preferred that the developer undertake an extension of the sidewalk along the frontage of the subject lands up to Stella Avenue, there is no mechanism beyond a holding provision or development agreement that could require the developer to extend the sidewalk. With regard to adequacy of parking and amenity space, each townhouse unit is proposed to contain a single vehicle garage, and each driveway is to accommodate one parking space. And furthermore, street parking is available along Abbott Road, subject to the municipality's parking bylaw. And with regard to amenity space, each townhouse unit is to have a rear open roof porch and will encroach no more than 1.55 meters into the side yards. And this would result in porches being at least 1.48 meters from interior side lot lines. And this area is proposed to be used as amenity space on the property. And a reduction of 3% of the minimum landscape open space is proposed, which would require at least 27% of the property to be used as landscaped open space. And furthermore, the proposed fence would also provide privacy within the amenity space. So staff would also like to note that the subject lands consist of 2 lots on a registered plan, which unless otherwise demonstrated can be separately sold. So should one of the lots be separately sold, the townhouse dwellings may not be in compliance with all zoning regulations, such as lot coverage or interior side yard setbacks. And from discussions with the applicant's team, it was suggested that a minimum frontage requirement being the frontage of the subject property, which includes both of the lots on the registered plan, in relation to permitting townhouse units should be included as a provision in the site-specific zone to ensure that the townhouse development functions as one property, regardless of the property consisting of 2 separate lots that could be separately sold. And so going back to the location of the subject lands, given that this proposal involves sensitive land uses being intensified adjacent to an employment area, being the Southwest Middlesex Public Works Garage, the policies within the Southwest Middlesex official plan were highlighted and the potential for dust and noise to be a concern for the proposal was identified. So as part of the submission to address land use compatibility concerns, mitigation measures were proposed, including full perimeter fencing, protected amenity areas, including building height, lease clauses and disclosures, landscaping, and dust mitigation. So more information about the mitigation measures are included within the report. And then additionally, our official plan does contain criteria that needs to be demonstrated when sensitive land uses are proposed to encroach employment lands. So this criteria includes there's an identified need for the proposed use, alternative locations for the proposed use have been evaluated, and there are no reasonable alternative locations. Adverse effects to the proposed sensitive land use are minimized and mitigated, and potential impacts to industrial manufacturing or other uses are minimized or mitigated. So with regard to adverse effects to the proposed sensitive land use, the applicant is proposing several mitigation measures as mentioned. With regard to potential impacts to industrial manufacturing or other uses, the proposed townhouses would be at least 2.95 meters from the property line and would contain covered porches. The proposed fencing would assist with separating land uses and privacy. And furthermore, the proposed warning clauses would ensure lessees and any new property owner are aware of the noise, dust, and potential odor from the nearby industrial use. So staff is of the opinion that potential impacts to industrial uses would be minimized and mitigated, but staff is also of the opinion that a holding symbol related to having a warning clause registered on the title of the lands would be appropriate. So without a warning clause registered on title, there is no mechanism for the municipality to require any warning clauses within lease agreements that I'm aware of. So this holding provision is required and would be contingent on confirmation that a warning clause related to noise and dust associated with the public works garage and any other industrial uses would be registered on the title of the lands. So based on the foregoing, staff is of the opinion that the subject application is consistent with the provincial planning statement and is in conformity with the County of Middlesex and Southwest Middlesex official plans. So with regard to agency comments, during the circulation of the public meeting notice, comments were received from the Southwest Middlesex Public Works Engineer, St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, Southwest Middlesex Deputy Chief Building Official, Southwest Middlesex Drainage Superintendent, and the Lower Thames Conservation Authority, as well as the County Engineer. These comments are all included within the report. With regard to public comments, 2 public comments were received, and they are included within the report or attached to the report. And those comments were from Dave Gerber and Lindsay and Elizabeth Adama. And with regard to those comments, the agent has prepared responses to the comments, which are also included within the report. So given the responses, staff is of the opinion that these concerns have been addressed or are capable of being addressed. So staff recommend that the report be received for information and also that the zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject lands from residential first density R11 zone to the site-specific residential third density zone with holding provisions R37-H-12-H-13 to permit townhouse dwellings in addition to site-specific provisions be approved. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open that up to the council for any discussion or questions. Seeing none, can I get a mover for the recommendation, please? Councillor Hagan moves it. Can I get a seconder? Councillor McGill, any further comments or questions? All in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you. And also, it's nice to see this development coming to Southwest Middlesex. So, no notice of motion, no correspondence and petitions, we have no unfinished business, no new business moved, county council conference update, any announcements? Councillor Haggith.
Well, I just want to say that don't forget the fair's in town this weekend. And if you're into hockey, the arena, the senior 8 teams from Alveston and Strathroy are playing up here on Saturday night. And
Same night as the fair, that's very good.
I mean, I think there's food and everything, so it should be a good time. So, and the parade, let's see, get some more people to the parade. Don't forget, that's weekend, so everybody comes out there.
Thanks, Joey. Any other announcements? Seeing none, we will now move into closed session. I'm not missing anything, Kendra. We will move into closed session. So can I get a mover to